Hey there, true believers. It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you an episode review and recap of the first ever Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Is episode 1, New World Order. So, it's been exactly 2 weeks since we had anything from WandaVision. We know we got a season finale that was mixed with yays and nays. And here we have something that's going to be a little bit different. And yeah, let me just go ahead and get right into it. I got phone notes, I got other notes. Let's do this. Well, we open in on Sam Wilson, the Falcon, getting dressed, almost like he's going to a funeral, right? He's getting dressed, and the shield is sitting on the bed, Cap shield, and he's putting it in the bag. And you hear him say, "It feels like it belongs to someone else." And we get audio of Cap saying, "Well, who does it belong to?" Or should I say, is it someone else's? And the crazy part is, this is audio taken from the end of Endgame, with Old Cap talking to Sam once he gave him the shield. Well, Sam is actually looking over the shield pretty pensively. It's like he's struggling with himself, and he's trying to deal with a swell of emotions. And we are quickly sent to a plane. And in this plane, he's dressed in his Falcon outfit. He's talking to soldiers, and a group called LAF. They have taken a captain hostage. They're being led by Backtrop the Leaper. If you remember Captain America and the Winter Soldier, that was the guy that Cap had flash kicked. Backtrop is a very he's a very old villain. His main thing is he's the leaper. They don't call him Backtrack the Leaper in here, but he's that's his whole thing. His whole thing was doing leaps and backflips. He's 1960s, 1970s villain. Kind of glad they didn't kill him. Would have preferred they kept Crossbones instead of Backtrack, but it's nice that they're showing that some villains are still around, just like some heroes are still around. And so, first of all, Sam's suit is very, very nice. Very is very modern and very comic book accurate. I really, really like it. So they're telling him, he has to, got to get him before they fly over Syria, because they're in Tensian. I cannot say this place correctly. I apologize. And they're in the airspace. They just got to try to be discreet, and they got to try to do this quickly. Well, Sam flies. He sees the plane. He is in contact with his liaison, Joaquin Torres. If the name Joaquin Torres sounds familiar, he actually ends up becoming Sam Wilson's sidekick when he's Captain America. Pardon me. He actually becomes the Falcon because he was experimented on by the Serpent Society and merged, taking the DNA of Red Wing, who in the comics is an actual bird that Sam has a telekinetic connection with, who also has vampiric properties, which means he heals very quickly. They spliced it with Joaquin, and he is able to fly. But in here, he's just a soldier, high-ranking soldier, Joaquin Torres, and the liaison. And he's talking Sam through it, and Sam flies. He gets to the plane, and he looks through the cockpit, and he sees one dead pilot and another pilot. They're already taken over. And the pilot actually looks up and sees him and gets startled, but Backtrop comes in, he's laughing at him, saying, "There's nothing out there. I'm going to end up killing you. Ha 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 ha." That's relevant. So Sam has Red Wing, and I like how they've done Red Wing in the MCU. It's not a bird, but it is a drone that listens to Sam's voice. It's voice operated. Very, very helpful companion. Not akin to a R2D2, but I'm pretty sure if they decide to make the thing even smarter, it probably could be, because it puts in work. So, Red Wing shoots open the cargo door. It pops open. Sam gets in there. He's instantly kicking butt. Like, he's knocking these guys out while they were contemplating killing the captain. And they speak French. Batroc, he's French. Sam takes out the last guy. And as he's about to go to the captain, Backtrop comes in, and they're having a big old tussle. And funny thing is, Backtrop was shooting at Sam. I like that the wings instantly came up to form a shield. Their bullets were ricocheting, and the guy that he said he would kill, well, their only pilot did get killed. He got filled with many, many, many bullet holes. So the plane was going to go down regardless. They grabbed the guy. Three of these guys put on wingsuits. They put him onto one of their guys, and they just all jump out. Of course, as Sam can easily follow because he's the Falcon. He has the wings. So they're flying and they're chasing. And this long chase scene, Sam gets closer, but someone interrupts him, and they're flying into a canyon now. These guys have 3 to 4 helicopters. They all don't come at once, but two appear. Sam is having to duck and dodge through the canyon. You even get cool moments where like they're sending heat-seeking missiles at him. And he's able to fly and redirect and send the missiles back at the plane. Red Wing helped him out by helping shoot down the plane. A helicopter, I'm sorry. Sam pulls a guy out. So there is death in here. I'm pretty sure that guy doesn't just fall hundreds of feet, thousands of feet out of there into a canyon and survive. But yeah, Sam is taking them out, and I think we get a moment where they get to a helicopter, and Batroc says to the captain, he's like, once we get over in Lebanon, he can't check, he can't cross the border. And so we get a cool moment where Sam somehow he flew in really quickly, sat down and said, "Hey, what's up?" We get a nice little back and forth fight. Gets down to chasing again. Unfortunately, his backpack got shot, and because of the goggles he has, if you remember these goggles from Ant-Man when he was dealing with Scott Lang, they're able to tell him, give him status reports. He's able to see through the plane, get body counts, and all those things. So while his backpack is trying to repair itself, he's dealing with the missiles. Torres is on the ground saying, "Hey, you're getting close to the border. We're going to have to find another way." His backpack, it repairs itself. He says, "That's all right. I found another way." After taking out another helicopter, goes through the side of this, grabs the guy, and the missiles end up hitting it. Backshot gets out. He escapes once again. I wonder, it's going to be really funny if Backshot ends up getting killed by Punisher. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm imagining who would kill this guy. So Sam gets him out. They're on the ground now. They're in Tunisia. I cannot say it correctly. I'm sorry. But Sam is trying to fix Red Wing. Torres offers to do it for him. He's like, "No, every time I let you Air Force guys take a look at it, he comes back more messed up than before." And of course, it's Stark Tech. They're still trying to play catch up. Even while Tony is gone, his technology is far above what the modern government has, even 5 years into the future. And the thing I didn't mention, Falcon and Winter Soldier takes place 6 months after Endgame. That's right. It is after Endgame, which means I have no idea where WandaVision fits in there, but it wouldn't serve to. It would serve to guess that probably WandaVision and possibly Falcon and the Winter Soldier are happening almost at the exact same time. So he's fixing up everything. A man comes by, speaks Arabic to Sam and saying, "You're an Avenger. Thank you. You brought my wife back to me." Sam speaks Arabic. He tells him it's no problem. He says thank you. He says thank you for the thank you, sir. Get some nice back and forth, some nice interaction with Torres. We're saying, oh, he even speaks, Arabic. And he's on his phone and he's tracking a group called the Flag Smashers. Flag Smashers, for those of you who read really, really old comics, was not a group, it was a person. Flag Smasher, his name was Carl Morgenthau. Well, in this show, he's going to be called Carly Morgenthau, who's going to be played by actress, oh Lord, I forget her name. I believe her name is Kellyanne. I can just look this up with Mac. Erin Kellyman, who is a British actress. She's only been in 2 things. She was in the BBC episodic Les Miserables show. She was in Solo. She's only 22. She's really, really young. It's kind of weird because you got Tom Holland who's 24, but he looks really, really young. It's going to be hard for me to believe that this young lady is a worldwide terrorist. And they have gender bent the character, but the character died in 2006. So let's be honest, a lot of people probably don't even know who Flag Smasher is. But I digress. The Flag Smashers, the group, apparently they want things to go back to the way things were during the blip. They want countries without borders, but all in all, they're terrorists, right? And Sam tells Joaquin, "Hey, keep track of it, but find out something, let me know." And he's just gonna be monitoring everything. Uh, Torres does have a funny moment where he says, "Yeah, a lot of people say Captain America's on the moon watching over all of us," which I think is a thing that did happen. He does have a base when he becomes the leader of the Secret Avengers. When he gets aged up a little bit, but he can still move because of the serum. He gets turned super old in the comics and comes back. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cap probably is watching over everybody on the moon. It's the MCU, but Sam goes, no, he's not on the moon, and he's getting ready to pack up. Sam's about to leave. He said, "I'm going to Washington." "What are you going to Washington for?" "Moon stuff." And it turns out Sam is giving Cap's shield to the Smithsonian. He gives a very, very nice speech about how we need new heroes. Symbols are great, but they mean nothing without the women and men behind it. Very nice touch. Usually people say men and women, so he said women and men. Plays up to his character a lot. Uh, in the crowd, we see James Rhodes, Rhodey, War Machine. So glad that he is in something else. As we're doing the speech, you can tell Rhodey has that look like, why are you giving up? Why are you giving the shield? And so, after Sam gives his speech, and Sam is looking at the shield all the while about, before passing it off, saying, I've always felt like it belonged. I told him, belonged to some. Feel like it belongs to someone else, but it's always going to be Steve's. But we need new heroes, right? The Smithsonian guy says, "Thank you. You did the right thing." Pay attention to that later on. So Sam and Rhodey go for a walk. They talk. He says, "How come we didn't take up the mantle?" And Sam previews him to the conversation he had with Steve, saying like, "It didn't feel like it belonged to me, but it felt like it belonged to him." And Rhoda says, "It's in 5 years, the world is broken and people are looking for someone to just try to make things right." Which I guess is it's kind of a reflection of Sam, because Sam has been gone for 5 years. He was one of the people that died in what they call the blip, but we call the snap over here in our world. The snap. A lot of people died. A lot of people were gone. Things crumbled. People are looking for a new light. Yeah, the Avengers came back and changed everything, but you know, people are looking for someone to fix it. And he said, "We'll keep in touch, brother." And I gushed so hard over this. I love the fact that we have two major black characters in Marvel Comics actually having a great conversation with each other. It also reflects the passage of time, because there was a point in time where Tony actually blamed Sam for the reason why Rhodey had to get those braces on his legs, why Rhodey was almost died during Civil War. The fact that they're having a great conversation after that, it's been several years, so of course, but and they both have lost basically their best friends. So it's really great to see these two black men, these two great characters interacting, and I oh, please let Rhodey be in at least 3 more episodes. This is only 6 episodes, guys, but please let him be in 3 more episodes. So Sam is he's tearful because he's looking at the case. They put the shield in there. They have Cap's outfit. They even have a part for Bucky in Cap's Smithsonian Museum art exhibit. And now we're at a hotel where there's some techs walking and talking. Some of them say, "Yeah, we're gonna go party," and the guy says, "No, we got a presentation. I'm gonna go sleep." Meanwhile, we have a man uh, being led by soldiers. And then through the wall comes a metal arm, pulling a guy in, beating him up, killing 2 guys. Of course, it's Buck. It's the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier, full mask and everything, shooting guys down, chasing another guy, breaking the guy through a wall, and he straight up kills the guy. Well, not far from where he killed the guy, maybe 20 feet, uh, is that same Japanese American tech he's trying to get in this door, and his hands are shaking and he can't get the key in. But when you see Bucky killed the guy, he says Hail Hydra. The guy's just he's trying to get in the door. He's walking close. And he says, "Please, I didn't say anything. I won't tell anybody." Bucky pulls out the gun, pulls the trigger, and then he's awake. He had a nightmare laying on the floor of his apartment. Interesting note: Bucky watches soccer because soccer was on TV, or as other people call it, football. It was on TV. And now he's in therapy, and he's talking to I guess a government mandated therapist because he's been pardoned, but he has to communicate. She knows when he's lying. He's not coming forth about nightmares. And when she pulls out the pad to write, he says, "Oh, come." That makes him want to talk. And I forget what rule number one was, but I think rule number one was dealing with things, coming to terms. So he attracted a congresswoman who he helped get there by being the Winter Soldier. Put a bug in her car, listen to her. She's trying to get someone to kill another guy so that things could go away. He was able to take control of her car with that same bug, scare her a bit, uh, contact the authorities, and then he could just leave. Because of course, rule number two was she's like, "What's the rule number two?" And he's like, "I don't remember." She says, "It's an important rule." He's like, "If it's important, why isn't it number one?" Smart ass Bucky. Anyway, rule number two: no one gets hurt. And rule number three, hmm, got the bad guy. He got the uh, rule number three was him saying who he was. He's like, I'm Bucky Barnes. I'm a Winter Soldier. I'm here to make amends with you." And then walks away as the police arrest her, which was a pretty funny moment. And it's nice to see what he was doing in the intern. Well, she's asking him, you need to trust people. Do you talk to people? You have any friends? He's like, "Yeah, I talk to people all the time." She asks him for her phone. She's like, barely even have 10 numbers in here, and you're not returning Sam's text messages. You know, I love his therapist. His therapist it's funny. She's like, "You're 100 years old. You need to talk to people." Literally, he's 106. You need to talk to people, and you need to open up more. And right before she's getting ready to write again, he says, back in Wakanda, he felt some calm and some peace. But for the last 90 years of his life, it's been one fight after the next. Then he was gone for 5 years, and he was right back in the fight again. And he's saying he just wants peace. She calls bullshit because the therapist is also a former soldier, and she said, I've seen bodies laid out. When you see those type of things, you become numb to it, and being in isolation is not a good thing. Cool. By the way, this episode supposed to be 50 minutes. Technically, it's 45. Then you have the credits, so a good length. But now we're back in Brooklyn. We're in Brooklyn. He has a friend, Mr. Nakajima, Yuri Nakajima. He eats with the guy. The guy's older. Technically, they're probably from the same era because technically Bucky is 106. He settled a dispute between him and a young man named Unique. Nakajima is one of the best wingmen I've ever seen because he gets him a date with the young hostess slash waitress lady at the sushi bar. And then, as Mr. Nakajima looks at some red mochi, he starts speaking Japanese and saying to him, "I had a son. They say, while my son was working overseas, they say he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, but it doesn't sit right in his chest. He really wants to know what happened." I'm pretty sure you guys can pay attention to what's going on next. Uh, so, funny joke that I wanted to mention was the old man say, he wants to play Pinochle with you, and she's like, "We'll do something else, but not play Pinochle." Pretty sure I'm saying that game wrong, but remember, Bucky is old. He's like, "What's wrong with that game?" So that was a really funny moment. But yeah, guys, I'm just gonna what Bucky killed his son. And I'm pretty sure he knows that he killed his son because he had Mr. Nakajima's name in his book of people he's trying to make amends with. He's actually trying to make amends with some people, and he's having a hard time coming forth telling him, "Hey, when I was a Winter Soldier, I killed your kid." Oh, we're going to Louisiana, y'all. We're going to Delacroix. Uncle Sam is back home. One of the things Sam had actually mentioned that 5 years passed by, his little nephews are now bigger. Well, it turns out Sam, the Wilson family, actually own a boat. They have their own seafood business, but things are looking very, very rough. His sister had been running everything since he had, basically died for 5 years. and she's talking about selling the boat. Sam's like, your name's not the only name on that boat. We're not selling it. We're gonna get a loan. We're gonna fix all these things. He even buckles when she punches him because like, man, you punch really hard, which I find funny, given that he's fought literal space aliens, right? And he's just convincing us, like, he's like, hey, I'm gonna, I'm gonna get a loan. We're gonna keep this. This is in our family name. And one of the funny things he said, he was getting everything set up, and we go back to Bucky, who's on this date. He brought her flowers, which he even mentions again as pretty old school. They play Battleship. He has like they're having some banter because he's there while she's closing up, and I guess they're gonna have their date right there. And she asks him, "How old is he?" 106. Why are you wearing gloves? For circulation, because remember he has a metal arm. And they play Battleship. She talks about wanting to, she can read his mind. He's like, please don't. Which, again, he's, yeah, he's had a pretty checkered past to say the least. He doesn't want anybody in there. She thanks him for being a friend to Yuri Nakajima because he lost his son. It doesn't sit well. Well, this doesn't sit well with Bucky because as she keeps talking about it, he says, I gotta go. Gets up and I think he's gonna confess to him. And he gets to his door and he notices the shrine and he sees his son's picture on the shrine with the incense burning. He pays him back. He pays him back for lunch and gives him money. Tells him his date was going fine. Then he leaves. And man, one of the things that I don't remember her name, the woman he had to date with, but one of the things she says, and they said her name in the credits, so I apologize for that. But when kids lose their parent, they're called orphans, and when and when widows, there's name for widows who lose their partners, but there's no name for parents who lose their kid. And that's the thing that sent Bucky over the edge to go talk to him. He just can't make it right. Meanwhile, we have Sam helping his sister, and one of the funniest things is he says, "All right, we gotta go." She's like, "Our meeting's not for another hour." They're packing up seafood because they're gonna do deliveries on top of have this meeting, and he says, "I don't play with these white folks." So it's Sam even says shit. He even curses. So this is really really great that we're seeing the familial side of him, how he deals with his family. That he's a real. These two characters feel like real people. Uh, they go to the bank. The banking guy is like trying to say remember who Sam is. Finally remembers he's an Avenger. Takes a selfie. He starts asking questions like like so when you're a hero, don't they do they pay you or something of that nature? And you can kind of see where things are going because his sister, she's upset. She's like, what about the people right in front of you? Even Sam is trying to redirect it, talk about the ones that are in front of him, and you know, his sister makes a great point. How can anybody have an income when you didn't exist for 5 years, right? And he's mentioning how a lot of people disappeared, so the banks have tightened up on everything. And a great thing she says is, of course, they're going to tighten up on people like us, black people. This is Louisiana, so the guy is so weird and so rude because he also says, he says, "Well, I'm on you guys' side. I promise you. You guys are heroes. It's just this is how it is. Hey, can I get another picture with you with your arms out?" And he's like, "Are you serious, bro?" And he just says, "I'm sorry. There's really nothing we can do." Meanwhile, in Switzerland, Joaquin is still tracking the flag smashers, and there's a bunch of people around meeting in front of this Swiss bank, looking at their phones, and he asks, and I don't know what they speak in Switzerland. I'm sorry, but he asks in their native tongue, "Hey, so how do we know what's going to happen?" And the white guy just kind of smiles and laughs. Someone throws a bag down, tells everyone to grab a mask and then run. Says all this in Swedish, mind you. And two bags come flying from over the top of the balcony. A guy jumps out, lands, doesn't hurt himself, and then chaos is ensuing. Well, Joaquin's paying attention to this guy moving. He knows who's moving, but I don't think he sees that the two helpers, one of them is going to be Flag Smasher, Lady Flag Smasher, help him take the bags and walk off. Well, this villain wearing a mask, sees an officer grab one of the people who took a mask and ran. He is beating up. He kicks the cop, and the cop flies like 5 feet. We then get a moment of Joaquin takes off the mask. He says, "I don't know how jurisdiction works, but you're under arrest." He's able to. I don't know how he's able to record him. I don't know if he has on like a headset or maybe it's a thing he's wearing, but he's getting pictures. He's getting feed of what's going on. Guy punches, flips him down and stomps him. Just takes him right out. So after Sam, we're going back to Sam in Delacroix. Him and his sister are having an intense conversation. She's saying, "That's why I told you we need to just get rid of it. And, our father was a giant. He was a legend." Don't know who Sam Wilson's father is. I don't think he has anything to do with Isaiah Thomas, the first black Captain America. But I am interested in knowing more about him. Just to know where the pride that Sam and his sister have and where it comes from. His sister, by the mind, is also a widow. So her husband died, but he didn't get died. He died. So he didn't come back. Anyway, they're having this heated discussion as they're heading back to the car. Sam is not giving up, and she's like, "That's just like you." She even mentions earlier, he tries to swoop in and save the day. He couldn't deal with the fact that I think their father had passed away, and he went off to the army, and he was fighting monsters and space people and all this. And Sam is he's taking all this to heart. You can see it on his face, and he's Anthony Mackie's doing a wonderful job with acting because you feel the emotion. And Sam says, "I am not going to give up our name, something that is in our name, and that was our parents. So I will find a way. I will go to every damn bank in this city if I have to." And she's just like, "So you're just going to do me like that when you know I'm right?" And he's like, "Damn right." So they're going to go do their deliveries. Meanwhile, Sam is trying to repair the boat himself. He's going to do this come hell or high water. Next thing we get, he gets a message from Torres who tells him, "Get on the secure line, man." Sends him the footage. They're both wondering if it's another Winter Soldier type of thing that's going on. But meanwhile, his sister, she runs in and she says, "Sam, you got to see what's on the TV." Same Smithsonian guy who told him he did the right thing. He said he's kind of echoing the words that Sam said. The world needs, new heroes to stand up. And I'm introducing you, the new Captain America. And of course, the person this is of course John Walker, aka the U.S. agent. He walks down, he's all cocky and he's winking. Sam is enraged, and this is where our episode ends. Really, really good. Give you a little background on John Walker. John Walker took over being Captain America when Cap gave up the moniker to become the Nomad. He was going around, he's still doing his superhero thing, but he was having questions about, having that American name, feeling like the world has changed a lot and that things aren't how they should be. Something that he did in Civil War. He technically became the Nomad in Civil War to Infinity War. Pretty interesting. Episode starts at 44 minutes, but man, they played Sam pretty bad. And you saw it coming. I saw it coming from a mile away because I like to suspend my disbelief. I knew U.S. Agent was in this, but at the same time, I was like, "This is a really dumb thing you're doing." And I like that. Hopefully, at the end of this series, Sam feels inside of him that he's earned the right to have that shield. Now, I have 6 things that should happen in this series. I'm 95% sure Sam's going to get that shield. Because if Kevin Feige says to the shareholders, "Hey, you don't have to watch these to watch the new movies." Well, if you saw Endgame, you saw he got the shield. You don't watch this, you're like, "Oh, he kept the shield." Although, I'll tell you why I really love this show again in a second. Number 2, Joaquin is either going to get powers. He's going to get powers from the same place that the Flag Smasher people got them, which is probably from Baron Zemo. Because for somebody to jump over the edge, jump from 3 or 4 stories down, not have a problem, that's superpower shit. Number 3, Bucky's probably going to confess to Yuri. I have that at 70%, just like Torres getting powers at 70%. I have a feeling that that's probably going to happen close to when the climax is, probably episode 3, maybe 4, when we gotta ramp up the stakes. Uh, the fourth thing I have, 80%, Bucky and Sharon Carter get together. Sharon Carter's in here. It's really weird. Like, I get giving Cap, the dance he never got, the dance that waited for him for years and years. Pardon me. But Sharon Carter was his niece by marriage the whole time. It was such a weird way that the Russos went about it. That is one of my nitpicks about wrapping up that whole first 3 phases of Marvel. But since Bucky's not getting with Black Widow because she's technically dead, I can see him pairing up with Sharon Carter, someone who can help at least guide him through this new world and not be alone. I have a number 5. The Thunderbolts will be formed. Baron Zemo started the Thunderbolts. I really hope the Flag Smashers aren't that new Thunderbolts, but hey, Bucky was in the Thunderbolts in 2017. Baron Zemo has always been part of the Thunderbolts for the most part. He started the heroic villainous group. They were trying to fill in for the Avengers. Who knows? Maybe this stupid U.S. agent guy is going to be the leader of the Thunderbolts, the MCU Thunderbolts. I also believe that there's a 75% chance that General Ross is going to show up. He showed up for Civil War. There's no way he's not going to show up for this. Well, there is a way, but I have a feeling he'll show up for this. He might be our little special guest character. Uh, what else can I explain? I talked to you guys about Backtrack. I told you about John Walker. I told you about Carl Morgenthau, who's going to be Carly Morgenthau, which, yeah, this 22-year-old playing this character. I'm not going to doubt anybody's skills until I see them. Until I see them acting. It's just, eh. The only promotional pictures you see of her is her smirking. Same thing with the young lady that's playing Kamala Khan. So I really hope she does a good job if she has a speaking role. Flag Smasher was also Captain Anarchy in Spider-Punk's universe. Well, that's a little thing to go in with there. He was the son of a Swiss banker, which is interesting because they robbed the Swiss bank when we first see the Flag Smashers. And yeah, just I'm so what I really want to hammer home here is I love the interactions that the characters are having. I really missed seeing Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stain. I miss seeing these characters. I miss seeing Rhodey. So having these TV shows allow us to have these characters come back and have this interaction. TV shows. This is just one really long movie, in my opinion. But I appreciate it. You can do more like this than you could in a 2-hour movie. Kind of like the Justice League movie. You do more in 4 hours to show characters and who they are than you can in an hour and a half or 2 hours and a half. So, uh, I love the fact that they're using their characters. One of my complaints with superhero movies, sometimes particularly with DC, is that you have all these different characters. Use them. Even use the ones that we have forgotten about. No one cares about Flag Smasher. Pretty sure Flag Smasher will probably die in this series, and no one's gonna care. Or Flag Smasher can come back and work with Backtrack, the Leaper, and make the Marvel version of the Injustice League. What is that called? Masterminds of Evil. Just just throwing it out there. I fully expect John Walker to lose a hand like he did before and go from jerk jackass anti-hero to jerk jackass hero, but still, he'll probably have a redeeming moment. I'm looking forward to episode 2. I appreciate the action of this. Hopefully, people won't be complaining. This show is very different from WandaVision because it's not mystical and magical, and it's not the type of suspense of what's going to happen next week. It's the type of suspense of wow, a lot of things are going on, and you should pay attention to it. Again, I I dare to say I might like this more than WandaVision. I might like it more because I'm enjoying how real this feels. This has a very much a political feel to it because it's addressing being black in America. It's addressing what do you do once you're not a soldier, when you're a veteran. What do you do once the world around you has changed and you're kind of stuck 5 years in the past? I appreciate what this show is bringing to it, and I appreciate what they're not hesitating to show. So again, everybody, thank you for showing up. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it when you do that because that actually helps me with the algorithm. And please, we're trying to get to 100 subscribers at least by the, if not by the end of this month, the beginning of April. Again, share the video so other people can see what a great time we're having. We're having lengthy discussions, but you know what? I'm giving you guys insight, helping you see things that you might have missed, and that's the whole point. Remember, hit the notification bell, get notified of more videos like this. I'm trying to do these every Friday for you guys. As always, thank you. Please remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, be good, be blessed, be good to yourself, be good to others. Black Lives Matter. We stand with our Asian brothers and sisters. And I will definitely see you next time. Oh, and if you were wondering why I have X-Men Origins back there, there's an easy answer for that. Maybe I'll tell you next week.